Level 1, $0. You're homeless. The government spent more processing your last emergency room visit from opioids than it would have cost to house you for a full year. It does not change the policy. You are 22. The city council is voting tonight to demolish the shelter where you have been sleeping for 7 months. You signed up for public comment, the one thing the government lets you do for free. The clerk asks for photo ID. Yours expired. You are sent back to your seat. Outside, the councilman's son, Marcus Whitfield III, an intern, 24, Harvard, spots the news crew and walks over to you. Tilts his head like he's listening, waits 11 seconds, recites a housing statistic he memorized in the car, and presses a business card into your hand. Gold seal. If there's anything I can do. The segment airs that night. Your face is blurred, standard practice for the homeless. His is not. The shelter comes down Tuesday. You end up in a library parking lot, Googling how to build an app on a cracked phone at 12%. That search will one day be worth $100 billion. Between here and $100 billion, the government will go from ignoring you to needing you. And 20 years from now, the intern who just handed you that card will wish he hadn't. Level 2, $25,000. You are a tax ID. 18 months after the shelter came down, you taught yourself to code on library computers. Not because someone encouraged you, because the library had Wi-Fi and a chair that did not require identification. You got a help desk job, $17 an hour. 30 hours a week at the property management company that developed the lot where your shelter stood. You walk past the Whitfield Properties logo every morning. The councilman who authored the demolition and the family whose company built what replaced it share the same last name. You do not yet understand how often that happens. First W-2 of your life. You file taxes using a free government tax filing tool. It crashes twice. You re-enter everything. Refund. $1,143. You feel like you have money for the first time. Then a state notice arrives, $340 owed on freelance work. Quarterly estimated payments. Nobody told you these existed. The government does not send a guide with your first paycheck. It sends a bill after your first mistake. You need a driver's license because the office moved to a suburb with no bus line. The DMV requires a birth certificate, proof of residence, social security card yours was stolen. Replacement takes 6 to 8 weeks. 3 trips. Each costs half a day of unpaid work. The license is $35. The process of getting it costs $400 in lost wages and fees. The government charges you to replace documents the government issued. You buy a car for $2,200. Registration, $180. Insurance, required by law, $140 a month. Not because of your driving record. Because of your zip code, the neighborhood where the government placed the shelter it then demolished. The cost of being legal is priced by the geography of your poverty. You start building something at night. An app that helps people navigate government benefit applications, the same forms that required what you did not have, the waitlists measured in months, the processing fees charged on applications for help. 200 users in the first month, all organic. All people typing the same desperate searches you typed at 12% battery in a library parking lot. You do not know it yet, but the thing you are building in a one-bedroom apartment will one day process more government filings than most government offices handle in a year. A local government office sends a cease and desist. The app may create confusion about official government services. Legal cost to respond, $2,500. You do not have $2,500. You rewrite the landing page in 48-point font. Not a government website. Nobody follows up. The app reaches 2,000 users. A venture fund offers a meeting. You put on the only collared shirt you own and drive the $2,200 car to a glass building 3 blocks from where your shelter stood. You park in the structure the city built with tax revenue from the development that replaced your bed. Parking, $28. The meeting that could change everything cost you $28 to walk into. Level 3, $100,000. You are a filer. The venture fund invested $150,000. You incorporated. LLC filing, $800. Registered agent, $300 a year. State franchise tax, $800 minimum regardless of revenue. The government charges you to exist as a business before you have earned $1. 3 fees before revenue. Your salary is $95,000. For the first time, you owe the government more in taxes this year than it gave you in total assistance during the years you were homeless. Nobody marks this crossover. The system does not pause or acknowledge the reversal. It recalculates. You hire a tax accountant, $3,200 a year. She saves you $11,000 in deductions you did not know existed: home office, mileage, equipment depreciation, health insurance premiums. These deductions were always available. Nobody at the Free Filing Center mentioned them because the Free Filing Center is built for simple returns. And simple returns are the ones with nothing worth deducting. The tax code is a rewards program. The membership fee is knowing it exists. You apply for an SBA loan. 47 days of paperwork. You need 3 years of returns, you have 2. A 43-page business plan. Your narrative is rejected for insufficient market positioning detail. You hire a consultant to rewrite it, $1,500. Approved. $50,000 at 7.5%. Same program that lends to Whitfield Properties at 4.1. Not a different program, a different relationship with the people who set the terms. The loan works. You hire your first 2 employees, but it worked 47 days late, $4,700 in extra fees, at a rate that prices in the fact that you do not know anyone. The system functioned. It also charged you for being new to it. You build a second product: compliance automation for small businesses. Government regulations for companies under 50 employees require 12 hours a week in administrative overhead. You are building a business whose entire value is that the government is too complicated for the people it governs. The government is your best product manager. It creates problems faster than you can solve them. Then the audit notice arrives. Random selection, the letter says. Your accountant says it is not random. New businesses with sudden income jumps get flagged. The audit takes 4 months. They find nothing. Cost, $8,500 in accountant fees. The government confirms you owe nothing and does not reimburse the $8,500 it cost you to prove it. You are not a customer the government wants to help at this level. You are a revenue source it has learned how to process. That evening, Marcus Whitfield III appears on television. He won a city council seat, his father's old district. Panel discussion on small business support. He says, "We need to make it easier for entrepreneurs to succeed." You look at the $8,500 invoice. You look at the card in your wallet. The edges are soft now. The person the government just spent 4 months auditing will one day pay more in annual taxes than this entire district office generates in a decade. The government does not know that yet. Neither, entirely, do you. Level 4. $500,000. You are an entity. The audit is behind you. Your company has 18 employees, $2.4 million in annual revenue. Your net worth, equity plus savings, crosses $500,000. A financial advisor tells you to restructure LLC to S Corp, SEP-IRA, a holding company for your intellectual property. Each restructuring has its own filing, its own legal fee, its own tax consequence. The government treats the version of you at $500,000 as a different legal organism than the version at $100,000. Same person, different entity. Your new tax strategist, $12,000 a year now, not $3,200, shows you Section 1202, the Qualified Small Business Stock Exclusion. Hold your shares 5 years and up to $10 million in capital gains could be tax-free. This provision exists in the federal tax code. It is not advertised. Your previous accountant never mentioned it. The government embedded a $10 million break inside a code section that requires a specialist to locate. Technically available to everyone. Practically available to people who can afford $12,000 a year in advice. A state agency wants to license your compliance tool. Government contract. The RFP requires a 90-page proposal, a $15,000 security audit, a diversity certification, 8 weeks, $2,200, and 3 references from previous government clients. You have 0 because this would be your first. You cannot get a government contract without government contract experience. You partner with a larger firm that has the certifications. They take 30% of the contract value for doing nothing except having existed longer than you. The government's procurement system created the dependency. The firm monetized it. Your tax return is 94 pages. You remember the free tool that crashed twice. You now pay $14,000 a year to file taxes on money the government takes 32% of. You attend a roundtable hosted by the Governor's Economic Council. 12 founders at a table. A deputy secretary asks what government can do. You say, "Simplify compliance for companies under 50 employees." He nods, writes nothing. A staffer hands you a pamphlet about existing programs, the same SBA loans, at the same rates. The pamphlet has a government seal on the cover. It is the same seal that is on the business card in your wallet. Same gold emboss. Same eagle. One is a promise from a man. The other is a promise from a system. You are beginning to suspect they are the same thing. Marcus Whitfield III is a state assemblyman now. His name is on a new bill, the Small Business Acceleration Act. It adds $3 million in funding and 2 new compliance requirements to qualify. More money available. Fewer businesses eligible. It passes unanimously. The man whose father wrote the ordinance that demolished your shelter and whose family built what replaced it is now writing the rules for businesses like yours. Level 5. $1 million. You are a taxpayer. Your company raised a Series A $8 million at a $40 million valuation. Your net worth on paper crosses $1 million. You do not feel like a millionaire. You feel like someone who owes $187,000 in estimated taxes this year, more than your total earnings during the first 3 years of your career combined. Your tax strategist restructures your compensation. $150,000 in salary, the rest in equity. Salary taxed at 37%. Long-term capital gains at 20%. The legal structure to access the lower rate costs $18,000 a year in advisory fees. The rate is available to anyone. The structure to reach it is not. Your compliance tool, the product that helps small businesses navigate government regulations, is now itself subject to 14 regulatory requirements across 3 states. The government is regulating the tool that exists because the government is too complicated to navigate without a tool. 1 in 10 small businesses filing federal compliance forms now uses your platform. You mention this in a board meeting. Nobody laughs. Compliance cost $340,000 a year. You attend your first political fundraiser. $2,500 a plate. You stand in a room where the average net worth is $15 million and feel poor for the first time since you were actually poor. A congressman shakes your hand, asks what your company does, says that's fantastic before you finish your second sentence, and moves on. You eat $2,500 worth of salmon and understand that political access at this level is not corruption. It is commerce. You are buying the right to be in the room. What happens in the room is that nothing happens publicly. 3 weeks later, the congressman's office calls about a pilot program. The call would not have happened without the dinner. The dinner would not have happened without the $2,500 bought exactly 1 phone call. You hire a lobbyist, though the lobbyist prefers strategic advisor. $15,000 a month. The lobbyist's job is to make sure that when regulations are drafted in your industry, your company is in the room where the draft happens. At $0, you could not speak at a city council meeting because your ID expired. At $1 million, you pay $180,000 a year to be in rooms where rules are written before they are announced. Not a different system, a different price for the same system. Then you learn that Marcus Whitfield III is a United States congressman. He sits on the House Subcommittee on Innovation, Data, and Commerce, the committee that oversees your industry. Your lobbyist mentions it over coffee. Whitfield's office is reasonable. They'll take a meeting. The man who handed you a business card outside a shelter about to be demolished now chairs a subcommittee that could regulate your company out of existence. He has power over your livelihood. He does not know you exist. You do not call. You do not take the meeting. Not yet. You take the business card out of your wallet and put it in your desk drawer. It is no longer something you carry by accident. It is something you are saving. Level 6. $10 million. You are a donor. Your company acquired a competitor. Your net worth, mostly illiquid equity, crosses $10 million. Your lobbyist gets you onto a policy advisory council. 30 technology executives who meet quarterly with senior congressional staff to discuss the regulatory landscape. The meetings are not publicly listed. They are not recorded. The input is described as non-binding. But the regulations that emerge 3 months later contain language you recognize from your own slide deck. You read the Federal Register and find your own sentences formatted as law. The government asked for your advice. The advice was free. The access to give it cost $180,000 a year and a net worth large enough to be noticed. You receive your first personal phone call from an elected official. Not a staffer, the senator himself. He uses your first name. You have never met this senator. His staff briefed him donor history, company valuation, political leanings, all in a database. The government knows your name now, not from your tax return, from your checkbook. At $0, your face was blurred on television. At $10 million, your name is printed on FEC filings as someone who funds the government itself. A new data privacy bill would force your company to make architectural changes costing $4.2 million. Your lobbyist arranges a meeting with the co-sponsor's chief of staff. You explain the burden. 2 weeks later, the bill is amended with a Small to medium enterprise exception covering companies your size exactly. The carve-out saves you $4.2 million. The companies at level 3 and level 4, the ones not in the room, will pay the full amount. The regulation was not changed. It was shaped. You're on the shaping side now. The rules you helped write will be enforced against every business beneath you. This is not corruption. This is access. Both words describe the same door. The difference is which side you are standing on, and you have not yet found the ceiling of how far this door opens. You host a fundraiser at your office. Marcus Whitfield III, a senator, now attends. You are in the same room for the first time since the sidewalk outside the shelter. He shakes your hand. Thanks for hosting. Great space. He moves on. Same warmth. Same rhythm. Same 11-second window of attention before his focus slides past you to the next face. Exactly as it did on that sidewalk when you were 22. He does not recognize you. He does not remember the business card or the camera crew or the blurred face. Your origin story, the shelter, the expired ID, the mailing address you did not have is a moment so insignificant in Marcus Whitfield's life that it did not survive as memory. Your founding wound is his forgotten Tuesday afternoon. His card is in your desk drawer, 11 feet from where he is standing. You know this. He does not. Level 7. $100 million. You are a stakeholder. Your company went public. Valuation, $2.1 billion. Your personal stake after lockup and diversification settles around $100 million. The day after the IPO, a call from the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy. They want you on a National Technology Advisory Board. The appointment is unpaid. The access is not. You are now advising the executive branch of the government that sent you a cease and desist for using public data when you had $25,000. Not a different government. The same government. A different number next to your name. You testify before the Senate Commerce Committee. Marcus Whitfield III sits on that committee. You enter the hearing room. He is behind the nameplate. A staffer whispers. Marcus sits forward, the posture of a man who has just learned the person across from him is no longer optional. He asks a rehearsed question about data ethics. Your answer is not rehearsed. It includes the line. When I was sleeping in a library parking lot, I filed my taxes on a free government tool that crashed twice and cost me an entire afternoon to re-enter everything. The room is quiet for 3 seconds. Marcus does not follow up. Your effective tax rate this year, 18.2%. Your executive assistant's effective rate, 24.1%. She earns $78,000. The government takes a larger percentage from the person who answers your phone than it takes from you. Not evasion. Structure capital gains rates, carried interest, charitable deductions against appreciated stock, opportunity zone investments. Your tax team costs $340,000 a year. The savings! $14 million. The system is not unfair at this level. It is tailored. Unfairness is what it looks like from below. A federal agency proposes a regulation affecting your core product. Before it is published in the Federal Register, your lobbyist has the draft. Before the public comment period opens, you have already submitted modifications. By the time Level 3 companies read about it in the news, you have shaped the text. The comment period is 60 days. Your influence preceded it by 45. Your platform now handles a quarter of all federal small business compliance filings. You attend a private retreat. 40 executives, 12 senators, 6 cabinet officials, no press. Policy positions previewed on hiking trails and over dinners on no calendar. You sit next to Marcus. He asks about your journey. You give the short version, he says. We need more founders like you in these conversations. You think about the shelter. You think about the blurred face. Thank you, Senator. You do not say. You were there. You brought the card to the hearing. Kept it in your jacket pocket the entire time. It is not a souvenir. It is a record of who gave it and what that person did not know about who was receiving it. Level 8. $1 billion. You are infrastructure. The Department of Commerce does not call to regulate. It calls to partner. The contract. $2.3 billion over 7 years. The negotiation is not adversarial. It is collaborative. The government needs your technology more than you need their money. At $0, you could not speak at a city council meeting. At $1 billion, the federal government sends a deputy secretary to your office to ask for help. The leverage has fully inverted. Your company employs 11,400 people across 14 states. When your lobbyist calls a senator's office, the call returns within the hour not because of donations, but because your company is the largest private employer in 2 congressional districts. The government cannot regulate you aggressively without risking job losses in districts where job losses decide elections. You did not design this as leverage. It became leverage automatically. Employment is the quietest form of political power. Nobody calls it lobbying. Everybody responds to it. A congressional investigation is launched into big tech market dominance. You testify with 7 lawyers. A junior congressman asks whether your company pays its fair share. Your prepared answer: last year, my company paid $1.2 billion in federal taxes, employed 11,400 Americans, and our platform processes 40% of federal small business compliance filings. No follow-up question. The investigation produces a 400-page report recommending further study. Nothing changes. The government investigates you with the energy of a system that cannot afford the answer. You establish a foundation. $200 million endowment. It funds digital literacy in the neighborhood where your shelter stood. The tax deduction on appreciated stock saves you $74 million. The same government that charged you $40 to apply for housing assistance now pays you $74 million to give money away. The charity is real. The tax benefit is real. Both things are true at the same time. Marcus Whitfield III announces his presidential campaign. Platform. Holding big tech accountable. You watch from your office, he says. No corporation should be more powerful than the people's government. Your company processes voter registration for 23 states. His campaign website runs on your cloud infrastructure. He is running against your power on a platform built by your engineers. You call your lobbyist. Set up a meeting with Whitfield. The card is in your drawer. Gold seal. Frayed edges. If there's anything I can do. For the first time, those words apply in the opposite direction. Level 9. $100 billion. You are the system. When the president mentions technology policy in the State of the Union, your company is the unnamed subject. When Congress debates data regulation, your legal team has reviewed the bill before most senators have read it. You do not lobby the government. The government lobbies you for partnerships, for contracts, for the cover of your public endorsement on policies it cannot pass without your cooperation. Your effective tax rate, 4.1%. A teacher in Ohio making $52,000 pays 22.3. The government taxes her at 5 times your rate, not evasion. Architecture, unrealized gains untaxed, deductions offsetting income, structures deferring liability across decades. The tax code at $100 billion is not a set of rules. It is a negotiation. You have better negotiators. A bipartisan bill on unrealized gains contains a carve-out for assets in qualified opportunity zones, language your lobbyists drafted 4 years ago for a different bill entirely. The old provision migrated unchanged into the new legislation. Your past lobbying is now embedded in the tax code itself. You are taxed by a system that contains your own amendments. The bill passes. Your exposure. Negligible. Marcus Whitfield III lost the presidential race. He is the Senate Majority Leader now. He requests a private meeting, not through staff. A personal call. You meet in your office. He arrives with 1 aide. You are alone. He needs your endorsement for a technology infrastructure bill, $40 billion in federal spending, much of it flowing through your platforms. He is polished, precise, and for the first time deferential. He finishes with 5 words. We can't do this without you. You open the desk drawer. You place the business card on the table between you. Gold seal. Frayed edges. More than 20 years of wear. If there's anything I can do. Marcus stares at it. He does not recognize it. You gave me this outside a shelter your father wrote the ordinance to demolish. I was 22. You said, if there's anything I can do. His expression shifts, not shame. The calculation of a man realizing a piece of his past has become expensive. I don't remember that. I know. You endorsed the bill, not because he asked, because it funds digital infrastructure in communities like the one where you were homeless. Your company will build it. Your foundation will staff it. Your tax structure will benefit from it. The government, Marcus, and you are now the same system. The distance between those 3 things closed so gradually that nobody can name the moment it happened. The shelter is gone. In its place is the mixed-use development Whitfield's project with a digital community center on the ground floor. Federal grant. Your platform. Marcus's name on the plaque. Your logo on the screen. A 23-year-old with a cracked phone and 12% battery walks in, sits at a free terminal, and Google how to build an app. The search is free. The platform generates 0.3 cents in ad revenue for your company. Somewhere on a different floor of a building downtown, your tax team is calculating the deduction. The government treats both of you as citizens. What that word cost is the only thing that has changed. If this one stayed with you, leave a thought below. Subscribe for more.